Alright, hello everyone. My name is Vox, and this, the Battlefield 4 beta. Everybody's really excited about this. Everybody's talking about BF4 beta. Gotta get that BF4 beta. I played it. Now, a disclaimer I kind of need to make is that You're given the exclusive, quote, open beta access early through two means. Either pre-ordering Battlefield 4, which I was not planning on doing, or having Battlefield 3 premium access, which I already had. However, if you have BF3 premium, you have to play it on the platform that you got Battlefield premium on. Unfortunately for me, that would be Xbox. So you're watching Xbox BF4 beta gameplay in 1080p, but there's one minor issue with that. There's no textures. I don't know, maybe they're releasing a second download, like the high-res texture pack download for Battlefield 3, but it literally looks like I'm playing like Battlefield 3 on the Xbox original, the original Xbox. Like, Halo Combat Evolved had better textures than what this beta launcher has. Now, it was only a gig and 0.65 gigabyte download, but I would still kind of expect more for a demo. I mean, let's be honest here. This is basically a demo. This can still technically be considered beta / pre-release gameplay, mechanics, engine, etc. because there are plenty of bugs, and it is pre-release. But it's not so much a beta test other than stress testing their servers, so much as a public demo to gain publicity. So the fact that they're releasing it where I'm looking at a car right now and it just looks like I can draw that on a piece of paper. As far as the gameplay goes, I'm not gonna lie, I am not all that impressed. Everybody's really, I hate to be the negative Nancy or negative whatever with all these new games and stuff, but you get bored. I want to see new things. I want to see exciting things. We went years between Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3. There was Battlefield 2 and then like Battlefield 2142 and all that jazz. And people held on to those for a while because the games were good and they were worth playing. Then we get Battlefield 3 and it's this whole big ordeal because it's been a few years since the next game and it's a huge launch. It was a pretty great shooter. But then to turn around and release Battlefield 4 not that long later, only about a year and a half after I got Battlefield 3 Premium, and doubled the cost of the game for myself, not all that satisfied with it. And as is the issue with EA DICE shooters, it just feels like, I feel like I'm playing a mod of Battlefield 3. Medal of Honor, the original, its multiplayer felt kind of like a dumbed down version of Battlefield Bad Company 2's multiplayer. It continues along that lines. I didn't play Warfighter, but a lot of their multiplayer seems exactly the same. There were a lot of similarities, of course, between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, but Battlefield 3 was actually a drastic difference. They just took Battlefield 3 and they made it bigger. And sucky for me, the one aspect about Battlefield 3 that I did not like was its size. I personally am an arcade shooter fan. I prefer, gun-on-gun action, quick, exciting gameplay. Not driving in vehicles forever, walking forever to find vehicles or find gun combat, or any of that jazz. I can enjoy some slow-paced things from time to time, but when the map is freaking, like, the size of GTA to walk around and it's like an open world map in a multiplayer shooter, it doesn't really work. And there's so few gun encounters when you're just trying to play on foot. I'm not a vehicle person. The vehicles never appealed to me in Battlefield. The planes were hard as hell to fly, the tank controls were just confusing, which, I mean, they're supposed to be, but it just kind of makes it not all that enjoyable. It's not even difficult in a challenge sense. It's just like, why the hell would I drive this when I can run around and shoot people? So, Operation Shanghai is this giant map with planes and helicopters and tanks everywhere. Not much room for little old me and my gun who wants to just shoot people in the face. I don't like it. It's... for those who wanted the giant, massive Battlefield experience with lots of vehicles, you got your game. But to me, it just... It doesn't feel new enough. It's one of those questions that Total Biscuit actually often asks in his WTF Is series of like indie games or sequels or whatever, is if you're gonna make your sequel, ask yourself the question, do we really need this game? If the answer is no, then why the fuck did you make it? I find that to be the case with Battlefield. I find that to be the case with a lot of games. Think if Blizzard released StarCraft 3 this year. Like, because StarCraft 2 came out, you know, I guess quite a bit earlier maybe than Battlefield 3, but, you know, it was 12 years since StarCraft 1, basically, that they released StarCraft 2. If they were to then take, you know, if they were to act like some developers do nowadays, and go, StarCraft 1, 12 years later, StarCraft 2, a year and a half later, StarCraft 3, people would be furious. It would probably pull the Halo route, get dropped from MLG, not really be all that great, because you can't just turn around, like, the game doesn't have time to establish itself. Battlefield 3 could have been a fantastic game that stayed well established for a very long time. The issue about Call of Duty is that they release one every year, so there's no time to get established with it to stay, you know, stay sharp on that specific game because it changes every single year. And there's those of us who go back and play the old ones, but there's a lot of punishment for that. Battlefield 3 would have been an awesome game for at least 5 or so years. It had tons of content they pumped out, tons of DLC, especially if you got premium, and it was a lot of fun. If you... and then the fact of premium itself. I paid for premium. I paid fucking $50 on top of the $40 game, on top of the $60 game of the PC version I got the day it came out. I spent like $200 fucking on Battlefield 3, and you're gonna tell me, like, a year and a half later, here's Battlefield 4? And it looks exactly the same, kind of like Call of Duty does, with some minor changes? And you want me to buy it all over again with the exact same Season Pass DLC content? Fuck you. No. I don't understand. And I understand it's a money-making gig, and there's so many people that are so excited for this game, and there's so many channels like Level Cap and other people, Matimio, and people who play Battlefield, and so basically just by mentioning Battlefield 4 in a title, they're gonna make millions, and it's exciting, or whatever. The game itself isn't. The game itself is just a modification of Battlefield 3. They took Battlefield 3, changed it. And the biggest change that pisses me off the most in this game is the fucking back button is not spot. I keep pulling up this awkward friends list option menu because I'm so used to hitting the back button on the Xbox controller to spot people. That's not there. And it really screws me over in my game. Now granted, the textures thing bothered me like crazy, but I don't really count it for much because I'm not concerned about the game graphically. Although that is, well, I guess I am. Battlefield 3 was obviously a crazily graphically fidel, okay, words are hard. It had tons of graphic fidelity. It was an amazing photorealistic game that if you maxed it out, especially if you maxed it out on PC, it just looked absolutely gorgeous. So we can put our money on that Battlefield 4 is going to look at least like that. However, from what I have seen of the gameplay of people who played it at the Gamescom and PAX and wherever they played it, and those who have played it on PC, it doesn't look that much different. The UI changed, just like in Call of Duty. There's some minor graphical things. There's a lot of things on the screen now. Just like okay. I need to stop myself. When I say just like Call of Duty, I'm not comparing it to Call of Duty. I'm just saying that they're turning it into Call of Duty as far as how the series is ran. It's releasing way too soon now, and that is a problem, and they're not making enough changes. The game looks and feels, when I actually get into gunfights, it looks and feels very much like Battlefield 3. To me, that is a problem. When on the same hardware, same platforms as I'm playing your sequel, if the sequel feels exactly the same as the next game, or as the previous game, and there's no, you know, drastic change, like there's no real story, you know, the campaign for Battlefield 3, who cares? There's no real story to move along, there's no real reason to release a second, other than to sell more copies? That is a problem. I know people don't want to hear this much negativity about a new game coming out, but it's the truth. So many people are going to be pre-ordering this game to get the exact same game they already had. That's why I'm not doing it. That's why I stopped pre-ordering games. That's why I stopped getting so many stupid games that have already came out. Because they're the same fucking games. Okay? And yes, if you enjoy it, if you have fun, that's fine. But personally, from what I have played so far, if nothing else because of the vehicle stuff and how big the game is, I'm gonna have a lot more fun in Battlefield 3. Just like there were a lot of people who still said they would have preferred Battlefield 2 or 2142 over Battlefield 3. I'm gonna stick with Battlefield 3 over Battlefield 4. I don't see the point in playing it. Now, as far as different issues with the game itself, there are a variety of bugs. There's tons of graphical glitches that they took forever to fix in Battlefield 3. Two more quick but actually very important things. With relation to the guns. The sniper. It felt so weird. I didn't understand it. Obviously, it took more time with it. I only played a couple games before I was just like, okay, this is stupid, I'm done. But it just felt really weird. Like, I did quite a bit of sniping in Battlefield 3. I know how it works. I know how the bullet drop works, things like that. I started trying to plan for that and while sniping some dudes, and it wasn't responding that way. It sent a trail where I'm assuming it's telling me where the bullet goes. It shows the smoke trail where normally that follows the bullet, and it'd go straight no matter where I shot it. It would go straight ahead. So if I aimed at it slightly above the guy's head, it'd make it look like I was shooting above the guy's head. I shoot directly at the guy, it'd make it look like I'm shooting directly at the guy, but I wouldn't get a hit marker. When I did get it lined up appropriately, I was able to kill people, but the bullet trail is just completely misleading. And then there's another time I'm just standing around, and my bullet, like, I shoot, and the bullet trail just shoots like 90 degrees up in the sky, and I'm like, what the fuck, what happened? And then another thing is just gun balance, like, none of it makes sense. Occasionally, without a headshot it seems, your assault rifle would be able to kill in just a couple shots, and other times it just, like, won't kill people at all. Assault rifles should be one of the most powerful guns as far as, you know, gun-on-gun combat, not, you know, sniping. And it just, up close, it feels so underpowered. I don't like it. There's spawning issues. There's a clip in here I hope I remember to include where I spawn, which is part of the squad spawning, but at the same time it's still a problem, is I spawned right behind an enemy with other enemies looking at me. I killed the enemy I spawned behind, and then they killed me. And that's just shitty spawning system. Obviously that's part of the squad spawning system, and you gotta play it carefully. It's just bleh. Anyway, that's my rant. That is Epos rants about Battlefield 4 beta. Oh, and one last thing that annoys me to hell about Battlefield 3 and the 4 beta apparently on the Xbox is it doesn't put the gameplay up into 16:9. It has these tiny little black bars on the top and bottom of the screen, and they don't need to be there. I put my little HUD arrows all the way to the edges of my screen, and it still says open beta and shows the map and icons and stuff in this tiny little black space, but it doesn't fill the gameplay up all the way. Why the fuck do you do this? PC doesn't do this. Fix your shit. Okay. I'm gonna go now and play some more fun for me games. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope these opinions helped somebody. See you next time.